Welcome to Double E Elevating Entrepreneurs. I'm here tonight with our special guest, Jordan Green. He is a YouTuber, content creator, and author. You want to go ahead and say hi to the audience?
What's going on? What's going on?
We're happy to have you. So Jordan has a really exciting story. He is a very young entrepreneur. He started at a really young age. He started when he was only 19. He actually was in college, and he's going to talk a bit about that story today, and decided not to continue to pursue his journey of entrepreneurship, which is pretty exciting. Whenever he left college, he had about 75 subscribers on his YouTube channel, and he went full-time in March 2020. You said you had 600 to 700 subscribers then?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that was after he actually quit his job. He was working part-time at the time, right?
Yeah,
for
retail.
H&M?
Yeah.
Retail. So tell us, before we get into the rest of your growth to where you are now, tell us about how that was balancing or kind of starting at your young age and then balancing school and, your business, and then also balancing work and starting your hustle.
Okay, so I actually didn't start my channel until after I dropped out of school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was in school, and I kind of knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to work for myself.
Okay.
I just didn't know how to go about that. And so I was doing a lot of research on trading, drop shipping, things like that, affiliate marketing,
Yeah.
more conventional business models.
Okay.
YouTube didn't really cross my mind. I just posted a few videos, but more so for fun. I wasn't thinking about it as a career. And I dropped out, and I decided to go ahead and make a video explaining why I dropped out, because I figured that a lot of people would want to know why. And I made that video, I believe, April 1st, 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and never stopped posting after that.
That's awesome. And then tell us about your stats today.
How many subscribers I have?
Yep.
So as of right now, as of the time of us recording this, I have 111,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is amazing to say.
Huge. That's
It's
an
crazy.
amazing success story. And you're
Crazy.
how old again right now?
21. I'm about to turn 22.
Wow, that's so cool. And then you just wrote your first book. If you want to show that, we'll talk about it more in a moment. But it's called Soul Shock.
Yes.
And it's actually a book on poems, so he's going to go into that in a little bit. But that is so cool. So tell us a little bit about your journey of, your first video, why you did quit school, why you decided to bet on yourself and start your own business.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because I never really liked school, but I was always good in school. So I had that external expectation of staying in school, going to a good college, and getting a good job. Just, the conventional life for most people, for most intelligent people, quote unquote. And for me, I knew in the back of my mind that I didn't want to do that. I've always been an independent thinker. I wouldn't say that I was a rebel, but I just thought a little bit differently. I liked the concept of owning my time more than anything. I also wanted to make a lot of money, but that was a secondary desire behind owning my time. And, when I dropped out, it's like everything just kind of fell into place. Everything just fell into place all at the same time. Like, I really just fell right into YouTube. I don't know, like, everything that's happened to me has been really organic and just solely based on me following my intuition. And really, to answer your question, that's why I dropped out. I just had a gut feeling that it was time, and I couldn't resist it anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that highlights like an important point too. So in business too, like we might be scared to make a move or make a change, but you can totally tell if you trust your instincts when it's time to do something or change things up. Based on my own experience, I felt that too. So I know what you're talking about.
For sure.
But that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you did get started, what that looked like, and kind of how things grew. We want to hear the journey.
Okay, so when I first started posting, ironically, I was posting a lot of the same content that I'm posting now, just much watered down, lower quality versions of it. That makes sense. I didn't really have the insight that I have now that I developed from my journey to get back to this point. So everything's kind of come full circle, but I started off making self-development type videos, and around summer 2019, so a few months after I dropped out and started YouTube, I started to get more into vlogging, just vlogging my escapades with my friends, playing basketball, things like that. And I wasn't really getting much traction. And eventually I had to start working a job, the job that you mentioned earlier, H&M, working part-time retail to purchase equipment for my channel so that I can take things to the next level. And I realized after working that I did not want to work. I didn't want to work anymore. That was the whole reason why I dropped out. And I kind of hit this rough patch mentally where it was like, man, I dropped out so that I wouldn't have to work. And here I am not only working, but working at a retail job. It's like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. No offense to anybody who does that.
No.
But for me, it just wasn't my thing. And I started to be a little more bold, a little more audacious in the content that I was posting. Started doing public interviews and just things that were more trendy at the time. Didn't really reflect who I was as a person, but I didn't care. You know, I just wanted to put myself in a position where I wouldn't have to work anymore. And I don't know if you want me to talk about quitting my job yet, or if you want to get into that later.
No, you can. Absolutely.
Okay, so at the time, man, it's so weird because everything just kind of happened simultaneously. Like I said, everything was organic, but this was March 2020. Okay, here's the turning point. The turning point was January 2020. I went to LA for, I believe, 4 days. Actually, I'm about to go to LA again in a couple of days here, but I went out to LA, and that was the first time that I got a chance to really be a full-time YouTuber for just a few days. Okay, I wasn't making money from it, but I got a taste of waking up, creating content, and then going to sleep for 4 days. And once I got a taste of that, I couldn't look at work the same again. I just couldn't look at work the same again. At the time, I had around 500 to 600 subscribers on YouTube, which for me at the time, I was like, man, this is great. But
that's awesome, actually. It's
for sure.
It's a lot.
For sure, but
Double E will get there.
for sure. But it was like I didn't, I wasn't anywhere close to making money yet. And it was kind of depressing. That was a really dark time for me mentally. I was, trying to go into work and be the best employee that I could because I don't want to go in there and bring this negative energy in there.
Sure.
And, I had my friends working there with me, but it didn't really help. At a certain point, I just kind of reached my breaking point, and I realized that, okay, I'm going to have to make a choice here. Do I want to continue working retail and see where I can get with that, or do I want to go all in on YouTube? And like I said, I had around 600 subscribers at the time. I was burned out from doing public interviews. I didn't want to do that anymore because, like I said, that wasn't a reflection of who I was as a person. But I just knew in my gut, and like I said, it always comes back to that gut feeling. I knew that it was time. And March 9th, 2020, I put in my 2 weeks notice at H&M. I worked my last shift, I believe, March 15th, 2020, the day after I turned 20 years old.
Nice.
And
Haven't looked back.
Yeah, for sure. It was.
You've just been growing.
For sure. It's kind of a blur. It's like I've changed so much since then, but it's like I'm still very connected with that version of myself, and I still remember how I felt at that time and how scared I was. Because, I didn't really show it in my videos, but I was petrified. I remember when I put in my 2 weeks notice, I was shaking. I was so scared.
Nervous. Yeah.
I was so scared because, I wasn't anywhere near getting monetized, and I didn't know what type of content I wanted to make. So after I quit my job, I think that's when the pandemic really hit, around March 2020, April 2020. And we were kind of on lockdown. So even if I wanted to do public interviews, which I didn't, I couldn't. Okay, I couldn't go out and do public interviews anymore. So I started doing ASMR videos. Now, I'm not really sure where I got that idea from. I think one of my friends suggested it to me, and I'd got this new mic. So I was like, you know what, let me just try it out. And from what I could tell, it seemed like I was pretty good at it. It's just shifting your audience that drastically on YouTube is very difficult to do. For anyone who's tried to do that before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I just kind of stuck with it. And even though I was broke, I wasn't really making much progress on my channel. I knew that I was going in the right direction. I was making some type of progress somewhere, if anywhere internally. And I was becoming the person that I needed to become to level up and to make this a full-time thing for myself. So around May, I believe, late May 2020, I started posting self-help type videos again, and they popped off. And I got monetized, I believe, June 6th, if I'm not mistaken, June 6th, 2020. And the rest is history.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So when you said you were in LA and you were there a few days making content full time, why'd you go to LA? Why LA?
I don't know. I just felt like that was the place to be for YouTubers, especially at the
Okay.
time. That was the spot.
Okay.
Like there were the LA YouTubers, and I was always watching them, and I'd see, like, oh, they're going down this street. I want to go down that street too in my videos.
Yeah.
And so I was more so thinking about the type of content that I could produce out there. And I remember I was like, man, like, I was able to do a public interview on a Monday night, and out
That's
here
cool.
in Dallas, it
Not
would take me
really.
like a Saturday, like 2 days to film one public interview. So I was like, man, I gotta get out here. And that's still a goal of mine for sure. But it definitely changed my paradigm just on content creation, because as you know, out here there aren't too many content creators.
Nope.
But out there it was like I was seeing people with their cameras out and everything, and I felt at home for the first time.
That's so cool. Did you ever go to like any conferences to learn about YouTube, or was this all just your trial and error and just kind of repetition and tweaking and figuring out what worked for you?
A mix of trial and error, research. I've always been a very observant person, so as I said earlier, when I'd watch those LA YouTubers, I'd always peep game on them. One of them in particular being DDG. A lot of people know who that is. I would always just peep, not just what he would do in his videos, but the way that he carried himself. Like, I would always pay attention to the commonalities between all of the successful YouTubers that I watched. And I try to figure out what about them makes them successful compared to someone like me. Like, what trait do they have that I don't have? And I started to put the pieces together, which, me personally, I believe that trait is confidence. It was just pure confidence in oneself. People always gravitate towards that. That's free game for you guys. If you want to build a platform, confidence is the key. And yeah.
I can't agree more, honestly, because people follow people who know what they're talking about, and that can be, just confidence in general, like, mindset-wise. If you know what you're talking about, whatever industry, whatever career that you're trying to accomplish, whatever business you're trying to build, even if it's a fake it till you make it type of attitude, if they don't know, if you exude that confidence, they are much more likely to listen and follow to you. Exactly. And interact with you, maybe even work with you, etc. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. So what does a typical day look like in your life now?
A lot of people ask me that. I don't know how to answer that. I really don't, because my days are all kind of different, but they're all kind of the same. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like I have such a structured routine, but then I also have fluidity built into my structure. So it's like I try to give myself the freedom, because that was the whole essence of being an entrepreneur, working for myself, is I can move how I want to move throughout my day.
Absolutely.
But typically, just to give you a quick little rundown, I wake up at 10 o'clock every morning. Get up, have my little morning routine that I do. Consists of journaling, meditating, washing my face, just trivial things like that. I also like to do a little bit of breath work and make breakfast, do my emails, do consultations after that, if I have any. After that, I have certain like physical therapy exercises that I have to do, because I'm recovering from a herniated disc in my back.
Oh, yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, so I'm still doing that, and I have like a stretching routine. And after I finish that, I'll usually film a video, and then I'll edit the video right after I film it. And sometime in that process, I'll reply to comments, usually about an hour after I post. I post at 12 p.m. Sunday through Saturday, or Sunday through Friday, my bad. I usually stream on Saturdays. And yeah, that's a typical day for me. And then some days I go to the gym, some days I read, but that's the essence of it, though.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So the different content, can you break down like the different ways you create your content? So you said you do some live, you do some recorded, and then you mentioned something else a second ago. I missed it.
I think I missed it too.
Okay, I know something else for your content, but
consultations?
Consultations,
Yeah.
yes. So can you kind of break that down a little bit further in terms of like what you do, what helped you with those, where you're going with each one of those, and kind of what your game plan is?
Okay, yeah. So as far as the recorded videos, that's pretty self-explanatory. Just talk to the camera, kind of like doing right now, and then chop the videos up. do whatever extra edits I need to do, and then format the video, post it, tags, thumbnail, title, all of that. And then every Saturday I like to do a live stream. That's more of that's kind of more of a community thing. Like, I obviously don't get paid as much for them. I can with donations and things like that, but that's one of those things that I just do because it's fun. I just like live streaming, and that's just something that I can look forward to and my community can look forward to as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love it.
You get a lot of interaction with when you go live.
For sure.
So you're talking back to people, answering questions. That's so cool. Okay.
Yeah, I love it. And every once in a while I'll do like a collab stream or something like that.
Okay.
But
cool.
That's really
we'll
the
have
essence
to do
of
one
streaming.
together.
For
That'd
sure.
be cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
But as far as the consultations go, I do them through a platform called Wizio, which allows me to do the consultations in video format, in recorded video format. So somebody can send me a text, video, an audio recording, anything explaining the problem that they have, and within a few days, I'll send them back a recorded response. So basically, it's like a private video in a sense. So, yeah.
Cool. And then what type of software do you use to edit your videos and audios? And tell us about your mic and all your materials that you use.
For sure.
All your
So
equipment.
I use Final Cut Pro for my editing. Been using that for a good minute now. Perfect for me. Should allow you to do pretty much everything you need to do. I use the Blue Yeti mic for my audio. I use a Sony a6600, my camera with I forgot what lens I have. I have all of my equipment on my website. You can go to my website, jordan-green.com, and I have a page that shows you all the equipment that I use and how I use it, like why I use each individual thing. But I use a 3-point lighting setup. That's just me personally, what I like to use. I used to use a ring light.
Yep.
But yeah, I learned more about lighting and everything. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to move out, is because I wanted to revamp my setup.
Right.
I needed to have more space to put all of these pieces together, and it came out exactly how I saw it in my head.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So what is your favorite thing that you do, or do you love all of it equally?
I love all of it equally. I feel
That's
like if I do
awesome.
too much of one thing, I get kind of burnt out.
Yeah.
But keeping a good variety is good for not only me, but for my audience as well. Because I don't want them to get bored of the content. I like to mix it up every now and then, especially with me posting daily.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to, get repetitive
Absolutely.
and fall too far into that repetition, that structure. So I just try to mix it up every now and then.
So what keeps you on track from falling into that trap?
I just go by gut.
Repetition?
I go by gut. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever I feel like I'm getting bored of YouTube, I just try to mix it up, whether it be a vlog or what I eat in a day, a workout video, a travel vlog, anything like that.
That's awesome. What is you think the most interesting thing you've talked about so far?
I don't think I have an answer for that one. Honestly, I really
Too
don't.
many, or some of your favorite topics?
My favorite topics? Pretty much everything.
Okay.
Everything, because it's like sometimes I go through phases.
Okay.
Like, sometimes I want to talk more about spirituality and the law of attraction. Other times I want to make more fitness related content. Maybe I want to talk about finance. Maybe I want to talk about how to elevate your skincare routine, how to be more attractive, just things like that. But all in the name of self-development, all in the name of becoming a better person, better version of yourself.
That's awesome. I love that. And then what about for your collaborations? Was there anybody that you collabed with that was really exciting that people should check out?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
Every collab that I've done has been amazing. I mean, everybody that I've collabed with has been just as great off camera as they were on camera. So
That's awesome. Is there anyone you want to collab with in the future that you're working on?
I don't really have any specific names in mind right now, but right now I'm kind of like scaling back on collabs a little bit. I've been telling a lot of people that because I just don't want to burn myself out. But I'm not really too particular about who I collab with. Like, I like to just bring the communities together in that sense, especially if we have a lot of common supporters. It's like a crossover episode of their favorite TV shows.
I love that. That's so cool. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more. You were saying that you have a routine and the importance of that. Can you tell people why you think that is vital to success and how you think that's helped you be successful?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, let me just, I don't want to sit here and make it seem like I've always had a routine. There were definitely times along this journey where I was waking up at like 4 p.m. and sleeping at like 6 a.m. Like I've
Oh,
been all over
wow.
the place with it for sure. And there were times where I would wake up at 6 a.m. and sleep at 10 p.m. Like
Mhm.
all over the place. But I feel like routine is very powerful in the sense that you build evolution into your day-to-day routine.
Mm.
So it's like if you know that every day at this time I'm going to do X activity that helps me elevate myself physically. And
Sure.
then at this time I'm going to do X activity that helps me elevate myself mentally and so on and so forth. It's like
Mm.
you may not see the progress in the short term, but over time it adds up.
Mhm.
And it adds up in tremendous ways.
Absolutely. What are some changes you've noticed in your growth since you've established like a more organized routine?
I think just my mental health in general.
Mm.
I feel like sleeping in,
Mhm.
especially, was something that really, really used to mess with me because it made me feel short on time.
Yep.
And I like the feeling of being able to kind of move, not lethargically, but
Mhm.
just not having to rush throughout
Right.
my activities. Like, I don't want to feel like I have to rush filming a video or editing a video or
Mhm.
getting back to people in my emails or anything like that. Like, I just like to take my time and enjoy the process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think honestly, it just gives you peace.
Yeah.
A lot just kind of having that structure and kind of, you know, getting your body used to like, okay, this is what time I do this, this is what time I do that. And then I think in general, you're just like a more productive person too, because you establish like a good sleep schedule and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but yeah, that's so awesome. So very cool. So tell us a little bit about some challenges that you've had to overcome as, you know, an entrepreneur. I know you mentioned that your parents were not the happiest initially.
Mm.
So I know there's probably people on here that can relate to that. So can you kind of talk us through how that felt and how you overcame that and where they are now?
Yeah, so um, I feel like dealing with doubt, external doubt, has definitely been amongst my biggest obstacles. But I feel like dealing with internal doubt has been the biggest obstacle that I've faced. The inner critic,
Yeah.
me telling myself that, man, maybe I don't have what it takes. Laying awake at night wondering, like, bro, I hope I made the right decision with this, man, because
Right.
I put all my eggs in one basket. So when that doubt hits you, it hits you hard,
Mhm.
because there is no plan B.
Absolutely.
So I feel
Especially
like
because you went all in.
exactly.
You were like,
I'm a
nope,
big
I'm putting all
advocate
my
for
chips in.
I'm a big advocate for putting all my eggs in one basket.
Mhm.
Um, but I feel like just building up my confidence over time, and that's really what it
Mhm.
took, was time, just consistency. And throughout my journey, there were people that would reach out to me, like especially around that time after I quit my job, but before I got monetized. Like that was
Okay.
tough for me. Like I felt like I was doing the
Mm.
right thing, but it's like I wasn't seeing any results at all. And I
Okay.
was going through heartbreak too. My first major
Aw.
heartbreak all at the same time. I was depressed. Like it was bad. Okay, it was all bad, but it's
How'd you
like
get through that?
um honestly writing this book.
Okay.
That's really what it came down to, but um I forgot what I was talking about.
Oh, we were talking about your
Oh
parents
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
going all in
Yeah.
and.
So there were people that would reach out to me
Mhm.
and just tell me out of nowhere. Like I usually don't reach out to YouTubers, but something told me to reach out to you. Like I felt this intuitive nudge to reach out to you to tell you that you're going to be successful. And I started
Mhm.
getting these messages like almost every day,
I
and it'd
love
be like
that.
paragraph
I
long
love
messages.
encouragement. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I
Keeps
always
us
say,
going.
if you have words of encouragement for somebody, don't hold them back. Like spread positivity, because you never know if that
Mhm.
person might need it or not. A well-timed message can change somebody's life.
Yeah.
I know it changed mine for sure. And I built up that inner courage, that inner confidence to stay resilient on my journey. I mean, even though I didn't really have another choice anyways, but
Yeah.
I just stayed true
You're
to
like, it's
my,
this or nothing.
exactly. I stayed true
Yeah.
to my passion and my
Mhm.
gut feeling. And once I got monetized, that pretty much took care of the whole like parents not really understanding thing. Never really heard anything about it again after that.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. I love that. So, tell us how it felt when you became monetized. Like,
Oh my gosh. I remember, do you want me to like paint the picture for you?
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so how familiar are you with YouTube's monetization?
I'm not. So you
Okay,
can teach
so
all of us.
basically you need 1,000 subscribers and you need 4,000 hours of watch time. So
Okay.
I already had the 1,000 subscribers because I had a few videos that did really well, got me to the subscriber count, but I didn't have the watch hours yet. That's pretty hard to get. I think
It's quite a lot of hours, actually.
exactly 4,000 watch hours is a lot, but you can get it quick though. If you have videos that are
Okay.
doing well, you can get it very quick. I think I had like 2,700, and I was like, man, I think I'm gonna hit it within a few weeks. But let me just, I'm just gonna keep posting, stay focused, whatever. I checked back in a few days later, and I hit it. And like on YouTube, I don't know if it's still like this, but they have like 2 check marks, and they'll usually be grayed out until you get them. Like when you hit the 1,000 subscribers, that gray check mark turns green. Same with the
Oh,
4,000
wow.
watch hours. And I remember I opened the page and I saw 2 green check marks, and I just looked at it, like I just stared
You're like,
for like
wow,
a good
that's
like few minutes, and
awesome.
I just cried.
Aw,
Like, I
when was
cried.
that? So, because you started 2019, so this was when?
This was June 2020.
June 2020.
June 2020.
So about a year-ish after you started?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Aw, like such a good feeling.
Yeah.
And I get it, because like, you're working hard, you're working every day, this is like, this is your calling, You're like, this is what I want to do with my life, and there's hard days where you're just frustrated, but it's worth it. Like,
Yeah, like
and I think you're
literally,
a great success story to show
like in that one moment, it's like all of those times where the inner critic was a little bit louder than the
Yeah.
inner fan. It's like all of those times were justified. Like it's like I knew that I did this for a reason, and all the risks I took, me putting my eggs in one basket, it paid off. And it's like when I remember my first thought was, I don't have to work anymore. Like I never have to clock in again,
That's awesome.
for sure.
How did that feel, honestly?
That felt amazing. I mean, the thing is, like, when I quit my job, I told myself,
Gotta
like,
be so real.
I'm never working again after this. Like, it didn't look too promising, but I was like, bro, if I have to go homeless, I'll go homeless. Like, I'm not working
Yeah.
anymore. Like, I'm done with that. I'm not clocking in. I'm not putting in another application. I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, it was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good.
That's
Like, I don't know how
awesome.
much I'm gonna make, but I'm good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. How did it feel just whenever you hit 100,000, or sorry, 1,000 and then 100,000 subscribers? Like, what were those milestones like?
Honestly, I thought hitting 1,000 subscribers would move me a little more, but I think it was getting monetized
Okay,
that really
more
sealed the deal
so.
for me. Yeah, because I had a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers. My OG subscribers will remember this. All my friends will definitely remember this. I had this sign in my room, wrote it on a piece of paper, and taped it to my bed frame. Said, by August 2020, I will have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think I put that up on my bed September or October of 2019.
Okay,
And so I hit 1,000 in May.
nice.
And I remember just like how quickly my life changed
Yeah.
in that, because my videos were popping off. So it's like I'd go out with my friends, I'd be at the park, they'd be playing basketball, and I'd go sit down and I'd be replying to comments for 30 minutes. And I wasn't
Wow.
used to that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't used to that. And
Awesome.
they'd always mess with me like, oh, like, can I get your autograph? Things like that. But it was,
So
you know,
good
that
friends.
for sure. I love all of them. But, that did change my life for sure. But hitting 100,000, for those of you who, are subscribed to my channel, listening to this, if you watch the stream, you know I bawled my eyes out. I bawled my eyes out. That was another moment where I hit it a lot earlier than anticipated.
Okay.
Like, my channel was growing, and I knew I was going to hit it very soon. The year was coming to an end. I think it was December 30th of last year. And I thought I was going to hit it in like a few days, like maybe to start this year off. But I woke up, like my alarm went off. I got up and I picked my phone up, and I saw a text from my mom. It said, congrats on 100K subscribers. I was like, what? I was like, hold on real
Before
quick.
you even knew.
Exactly. I was like, yo, hold on real quick.
Aw.
And then I went in and looked. And I was like,
Dang.
yo, like, yo, like, I really hit it. Like,
Yeah.
it was just, I don't know. It was
That's
weird. It was so
awesome.
surreal. But,
Awesome.
yeah, that was a day that I'll remember
Yeah,
for the rest
I
of my
bet.
life.
That's so cool. So you mentioned that you had your goal up in your room. Do you do a lot with like envisioning and things like that, like
Yeah.
your future?
For sure. I'm very big on manifestation.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And then what are like some books or other people that maybe also inspire you in the entrepreneurial realm that like just, kind of, you said you like do a lot of growth reading, like anything you can suggest, or people that you really, connect with?
So the book that changed my life, I started reading this book, I think right before I went to LA back in January 2020, like a few days before. And this is, once I started reading this book and learning about manifestation, that's when everything started to change for me, like mentally, spiritually, just a lot of new pathways started to open up. But the book is called The Last Law of Attraction Book You'll Ever Need to Read by Andrew Capp. That book changed my life. I've talked a lot about it on my channel, but that book changed my life. And funny enough, I think this was June or July of last year, Andrew Capp actually reached out to me.
No way.
He reached out to me.
That's awesome.
Like, I guess he saw one of my videos where I had his book in my thumbnail, and he reached out to me.
That's awesome.
And I did an interview with him.
No
like, he
way.
interviewed me on
That's
his
so
channel.
Cool.
So, I mean, that was a crazy full circle moment.
Shout out, Andrew. Shout out.
Shout out to Andrew, for real. Real one.
Yeah. Thanks for inspiring us. That's awesome.
For sure.
Yeah, that's so cool. So now that you mentioned books, why don't you tell us a little about Soul Shock and how that happened? It looks awesome.
Thank you. So Soul Shock, A Divine Love Story, is a book that I wrote. I can't really say like when I wrote it. It's just kind of a collection of poems that some of them I wrote while I was in the midst of going through heartbreak, like right after it happened or while the wound was really fresh. So some of them were written like around March, April, May, June. I wrote a lot of them just throughout the course of 2020. And then, but I didn't really intend on making it a book. The book idea came to me after I broke up with my ex, which this book is not about my ex. It's about a completely unrelated incident. But that was August of 2021.
Okay.
September, I think, is when I started like really working on the book. And it's another one of those things where it happened so organically that I can't even break down the process of it.
Okay.
It's like it had to happen.
It just flowed.
Exactly. Very, very fluid, very organic. And I just looked up and I'd written a book.
That's so
and it
awesome.
was like, man, like everything from the cover art, for example.
I love that cover art. Did you create that too?
My friend created it. He created this, and then I kind of like, put it together as a cover. But the inspiration behind that was one day I think I was doing a live stream or something. Something kept telling me to go to an art museum, to go to the DMA, Dallas Museum of Art. I'm not really the type of person to go to art museums like that. Like, I'm not really much of an art enthusiast, but something just kept telling me to go. Okay. So I finally caved in and I went, and my intuition just led me to this. It was like this back room ducked off on the first floor. I couldn't tell you exactly where it is. I honestly don't know. Like, it was just pure intuition. Yeah. And it was like, I don't have a picture of it anymore, but there was this one picture. It was kind of similar to this one right here. Kind of similar to it, but not exactly the same. But I knew instantly, like, that's the cover art. And so I took a picture of it, and I found a few similar pictures on Google, and I sent them all to my friend who does graphic design, art, just things like that.
So cool.
Yeah, and I told him, like, yo, man, can you make a book cover for me? And he's like, yeah, man, I got you. And he made that for me, and then I formatted the book. Everything about the book, like from the formatting to just the whole publishing process, it's really almost all I cared about at the time when I was working on it. Like, my YouTube channel, I really put it on the back burner. Even though I was posting almost every day still, it's like this became my prized possession. And any time spent doing this, I was at peace. Yeah. And I think
that's awesome.
I experienced a lot of catharsis just from the emotional release of talking through my inner traumas. And that really allowed me to ascend past that stage of my life and really, end that chapter and make something of it and create a work of art that can help other people who are going through the same thing. Yeah,
I love that. Is there one that you'd like to read to us today?
A poem?
Yeah.
I can read one off the top of my head.
Oh, nice.
I mean,
Let's hear it.
Like?
Your favorite, or whatever one you feel like sharing.
My favorite? Man, I don't know that I have a favorite.
Or whatever you feel like, called to share.
Okay, so this one is called Mirror. It's the last poem that I wrote. It's not the last poem in the book, but it's the last one that I wrote. Through deep introspection, my perception much clearer. You were never my reflection. You were only the mirror.
Oh my gosh, I like that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Look, you got some skills. You should go do like stand up.
I did. I've done a few. Yeah, I've done a few open mic nights.
That's so awesome. That's really, really cool. When did you find out that you like loved poetry?
It's one of those things I just fell into it again.
Okay.
Honestly, writing has really helped me when I was going through dark times. It's really helped me find light in those times. Because this is something that I was talking about with one of my friends, but I feel like complex emotions call for complex explanations. And so some of the emotions
That's
that I
really good,
express in this
actually.
book, thank you. Some of the emotions that I express in this book, it's like I can't articulate that through the conversation format of my videos. So it's like this is my only medium. And writing poetry, it allows me to play with the words in ways that feel so fluid.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like I'm dancing with the words almost. But I think I really got into poetry after that heartbreak. It was around that time in my life. As I was making these ASMR videos, the format of the ASMR videos was I would write a poem and then I'd share the poem in ASMR format,
What does that mean?
like basically just whispering it.
Oh.
I honestly don't know too much about ASMR. I was just doing it because people told me that I was good at it.
Okay.
It's like, hey, let me just go ahead and stick with this.
Yeah.
But I was writing a poem every single day,
That's awesome.
every single day for like a few months, and I really, really sharpened my sword in that way. And I think for me, it's just a gift. I'm naturally gifted at writing, even more so than I am speaking. But
It's a huge blessing, actually.
for sure,
Especially
for sure,
for the industry that we're both in, right?
for sure.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So tell us, what is that poem that you just shared with us? What does it mean to you?
Okay, so if you read the book, you'll see me refer to her as my reflection a lot of times because she, how do I put this? I saw a lot of myself in her. And a big theme throughout the book is we accept the love that we think we deserve, in a sense. So it's like
That's
she
good.
was treating me a certain way, and initially there was that victim mentality
Yeah.
of like, you know, I'm a victim of hers. She did that to me.
Right.
Then I realized that she was only reflecting to me the type of love that I was giving to myself. Because if I loved myself, I would have walked away. You know, and
it's what we allow.
exactly.
typically.
And that's when, you know, I had to make that distinction between her being my reflection, her being like another me, and her just being a medium through which I'm viewing myself and my relationship with myself, the quality of the relationship with myself.
Right. That's good. That's really, really good.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's so true. It's just like relationships are complicated, but when you really break it down and look at it, you know, there's a lot of truth to what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, I think
So-
love is one of those things like you can't, as like one of the things about the book is like me trying to intellectualize love and then realizing that you can't.
You can't.
You can't. It's just an experience that you have to have.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Are you going to write some more books in the future?
For sure, for sure. I'm working on a law of attraction book right now.
Nice.
I actually started that book before this one, but I kind
Okay.
of put that one on the back burner because I
Okay.
was called to write this one.
Sure.
And I'm also planning on releasing excerpts from my journal one
Okay.
day.
Cool.
Once I reach a certain milestone, I'm not really going to share that right now, but I do
Okay.
want to share that one day. And I have enough poetry to put out probably a few more of these if I wanted to, but I don't really want to just put something out for the sake of putting it out. Like, my thing is, I treat my writing as art. And so when I put something out, I want it to be something that's going to live well beyond me.
Yeah.
Like that even when people don't remember my name, they remember my art.
I love that. That's so cool. That's awesome. How long did it take you to write your book, Soul Shock?
Honestly, like, because some of the poems, I feel like more than half of the book was written just in like a 2 to 3 month time span.
Wow.
And then the other ones were already written, but even the poems that were already there, I kind of modified most of them just to match my standards now. Because obviously my writing skills progressed over time, just my conventions, my grammar, my vocabulary. But yeah, from, what was it, August to December.
Okay.
August to December.
That's awesome. That's actually really fast.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I,
awesome.
like when I say I was called to write it,
Yeah.
like I'm talking about I would be
very
in the car.
fluid.
I'd be in the car with my MacBook for like 6 hours at a time, just
Wow,
working on
just
the
going
book.
off. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Where can people get your book?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Amazon, yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's so cool.
Just look up Soul Shock on Amazon and it should pop up.
That's awesome. I love that. What do you think helps you accomplish your goals? What tips do you have for people that want to accomplish goals with their life or business?
Just general tips?
Yeah, general, or you can do in-depth as well.
So the biggest thing to me is alignment. And I think a lot of people kind of misconstrue that term to mean, oh, you just have to think about it and then it'll happen. But to me, there's a whole multifaceted process. You know, you have to align your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, and your actions with the version of you that has the thing that you want. And the thing is, it's completely free to use your imagination. A lot of people overlook that. Like, I'm very big on taking the preview of your dream life. So say, for example, if there's a car that you want, I'm big on going to the dealership and sitting inside, getting a test drive if you can. It's free.
Yeah.
You know, or even if you have to spend some money to rent it for a few days, just to put yourself on that frequency to feel like it's yours already, just to give yourself that feeling. And I'm also big on gratitude, you know, because at the end of the day, we all want to feel gratitude. That's why we want the things that we want, because we want opportunities to feel gratitude. And if you allow yourself to feel gratitude now, you'll, in a sense, live in the end. You'll live in the end of your goals. A lot of people want to delay their gratitude, delay their happiness, but if you do that, you'll never actually catch it. You'll never reach it, because life is, there's no ultimate destination in life. You know, everything is just a checkpoint along the way. There was a point when I wanted 1,000 subscribers, and I thought that when I had 1,000 subscribers, I'd be happy. I was like, oh man, that's it. Like, if I hit 1,000, I'm good.
That's the pinnacle.
Exactly.
Like,
and then I hit it, and I was like, you know what? Let me go for 2,000 now, and 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, so on and so forth. And you know, that hunger will stay there. But the best analogy that I have, I forgot who I heard this from, but it's like if you eat a piece of your favorite food, like let's say pizza, for example. A lot of people like pizza. Let's say you eat you take a bite of your favorite pizza, favorite toppings, favorite restaurant, all of that, and you enjoy that bite for what it is. You say like, man, this is really, really good. I want more of it. You're not coming from the
you're
lack.
not satisfied.
Yeah, like, but at the same time, you're not coming from the lack mindset of like
abundance mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're thinking more about expanding what you have as opposed to acquiring what you don't. And I think when you focus on that, it allows you to not only accomplish the things that you want in a more efficient way, but to enjoy the process more, because the process is all that really matters. Yeah. So I think that when you enjoy the process, everything else takes care of itself. Everything else takes care of itself, because a lot of times, you know, when you're not on the right wavelength, when you're not on the right frequency from a mental standpoint or a spiritual standpoint, you're not receptive to the right ideas. A lot of people think that they can outwork that lack of alignment, that lack of mental alignment. And maybe you can, you know, but me personally, I'd rather get it not in the easiest way possible, but in the most fluid way possible, the most organic way possible. And that's where, you know, following your gut is so big. Like for me, for example, an example from my own life was me taking that trip to LA. I gave myself a preview of my dream life. Another thing that I did, I forgot to mention this, there was one day after that trip where I was at work and I was at the register. It was a very slow day. And I got a sticky note and I wrote down what a day in my life would look like as a full-time YouTuber. And I kept that sticky note on my desk.
That vision.
Yeah, I kept it on my desk, and I would visualize it like constantly. And just doing that put me on that wavelength to receive the ideas that I needed to. It's not that I had to work any harder.
Right.
It's just, you know, I put in the same amount of effort, but it was intentional effort.
Absolutely.
That's why, you know, that's the biggest difference between successful people and non-successful people. It's that successful people are just on a different wavelength mentally to receive different messages, divine inspiration, if you will.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Those are great tips.
Thank you.
And then what is your perspective as well about being a young entrepreneur? Like some challenges that you had to overcome that could help, you know, those out there that are also young, kind of starting a business.
I think if you're young, that's an advantage more than anything. Like there is that perception, of course, of I've gotten those comments of like, oh, like who are you to be giving advice? You're 21 years old. But it's like, I mean, I don't like to measure life in that way. I don't think about it as the number of years that you've been alive. I think about it as the life that you've lived in those years.
Yeah.
You know, so me being 21,
Experiences, yeah.
exactly. I'm 21. I'm young, but at the same time, I've had experiences that some people will never experience in their whole lifetime.
Okay.
You know, like
Yeah.
going all in and
Yeah.
working for myself. Like these are things that some people never get to experience. And it's like I've seen things, I've experienced things, and that allows me to bring more insight to the table. You know, but I think the most important thing is investing in yourself and taking advantage of the compound interest of
Okay.
investing in yourself, because like I said, youth is your greatest asset. And that applies to anyone of any age. You could be 70 years old right now. You are the youngest that you will ever be for the rest of your life. So that's why you have to start now. Okay, the best time to start was yesterday.
Right.
Second best time is now. You start right now, start investing in yourself in whatever way you seem or you deem fit for you, then you know you'll see results over time.
No, you're completely right. And it's, age is just a number, but it is like, yeah, start now, start today. And you can honestly learn from people at every age. Everyone has different perspectives and different life and things like that. And honestly, I feel like it's actually to your advantage to be young because life is less complicated.
Yeah.
You're not married yet. You don't have kids to worry about, So the older we get, typically the more complicated life gets, the more responsibilities we have, which makes it harder to focus. So I think you have a huge advantage
Sure.
as well being at a young age. So that's so awesome. So what are some of your other goals going into this year and, things people should look out for?
Honestly, I'm at a point where I'm not really thinking in terms of number goals anymore. I just want, like I said, it just comes back to that abundance mindset of like I just want more of what I already have.
Okay.
Like I was at Target, same Target that we met actually.
Yeah.
Somebody came up to me and we were talking. That happens to me a lot actually. Like people just come to me and just talk to me like that. It's interesting, but
That's good. It's attraction.
For sure.
You're about to write about it.
For sure. But
yeah.
he asked me the same exact question. And
Really?
yeah, just like what are your goals? Where do you see yourself going? Like what's your vision? And I had to think about it. I was like,
It's random.
I'm already living it. Like I'm already
Yeah.
living my dream life. I just want more of the things that I already have. Like
Absolutely.
I have 111K. Like let's put an M instead of the K. Like let's let's just expand in that way.
Yeah.
I've sold X amount of copies of my book. I want to sell more. It's just that sort of vibe. Like I just want to expand on what I already have, and just enjoy my life for where I'm at, but also place the focus on myself first, not get lost in the success, because that is something that I struggled with in the past.
Right.
And I think that led to imposter syndrome and things like that. But therapy and journaling has definitely helped me elevate past that mindset. But just focusing on myself and allowing myself to enjoy the process as I grow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That's awesome. Well, I'm really excited for, your YouTube channel and your writing and all of your growth going forward. And I think you're going to come out with even more exciting things and, topics as well, since you're very creative, always inspiring and things like that. Is there anything specific that, like, really helps you be inspired?
In terms of what? Just
Your
creatively?
Yeah.
One thing that I've definitely been implementing a lot of in my life is solitude. Solitude, just being alone. And, having my own place definitely helps me out with that. But just taking time to be completely by myself. And when I say by myself, that means no social media, no phone. Sometimes I don't even read. Like I just lay there and I just allow myself to be present. And when you're present, that's when you're receptive to your best ideas. I like to think of it as like a package, for example. Think about success as a package that you have to sign in order to receive, but if you're in the future, you're constantly thinking ahead. It's like you're 2 blocks down the road and you're wondering where your package is at, but it's being delivered at your house in the present moment, and when you come back to the present, that's when the ideas start to really flow to you. They really start to flow in abundance, and you start to make a lot of connections that you can't even explain to people. It just happens organically.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's a good tip. We actually talked about that the other day, right, with solitude. And that's something I think it's, easier said than done, especially with the world that we live in today. Everything is so instant gratification, like on your phone, it's always going off. But what's also really helped me focus, and you've probably utilized this too, is just like the focus on notifications and stuff like that on your phone. So that way, every time it pings, you're not just like looking, like, you know, you can actually have that peace and that silence and the quiet to actually think things through and be productive that way and let your mind wander and create ideas. So
exactly, like a lot of people, I don't know what your demographic is like. I'm assuming that they're older. They're old, like people who.
Combination, actually. I have a lot of young audience as well.
Okay, so
I
feel like
20s and 30s.
anybody who's like 20 and older, you'll remember that there was a point in time when we didn't used to leave our phones on all day. Like at night, we'd turn our phones off, and that was normal. But now it's like we don't do that anymore. Yeah. And I think that just doing something like that can go a very long way. Just 30 minutes a day, turn your phone off. I promise you, you're not going to miss anything that important. Like people have this fear of missing out. It's like, man, we lived without phones for years.
Right,
okay, phones are a recent invention. You will be fine. I promise you.
You'll be okay.
I promise you. If it's that important that you really need to know it, the news will find you.
Right.
You won't need your phone to figure out what's really, really relevant in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, you're completely right. And I try to stay off that stuff too. Too much news, a lot of negativity. I try to have positivity and not fuel my mind with all that all the time. Yeah,
For sure.
So, but yeah, that's awesome. Well, any other like tips that you want to share, and how can people connect with you?
You can just go to my website, or you can email me. I have a personal email, dmjordangreen@yahoo.com, and I have my business email, business.jordangreen@gmail.com. And yeah, I mean, you can just reach out to me if you just want to say hi, or maybe you have some type of business proposition. I don't know, whatever you may want to reach out to me for. And I'm trying to think of one tip that I have. I mean, aside from elevating your mindset, just remain faithful. Faith can take you a very, very long way. Believe me, I am a living, breathing testimony of that. If you have faith, if you shut out the outside noise, all the external doubt, and you just stay committed, you stay committed to that vision that you have, that gut feeling that you have. You don't let people deter you from doing what you feel is right, as opposed to what makes sense. You can go very far in life, and you can redefine your paradigm or your boundaries of what is logical and what is illogical. And same for other people. You can lead other people through the darkness of their own minds, and help them free themselves and elevate beyond their limiting belief systems.
That's awesome. That's really good.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to definitely collab with you in the future as well, and maybe we can do that stream. That'll be really, really cool. But yeah, you guys should definitely check out Jordan Green. I think he's an exciting young entrepreneur that's going to do a lot of great things. But yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in tonight, and you guys stay tuned for the next episode of Double E Elevating Entrepreneurs.
Sure.
Awesome. That was so good.